sound speeds. And I recently moved, so I have a new studio I have to set up. Now, as you can hear right now, this room is very, very reverberant. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of activity in this room. So I'm going to have to do some acoustic treatment to it because, let the truth be known, my background didn't survive. And I'll get into that in a future video. But for this video, I'm going to kind of look at my desk and set it up in a new way. I do like the way that the studio was laid out before. A monitor on top of a DBX286S inside of a 1U rack space, sound devices Mix Pre 6, keyboard, mouse, oversized mouse pad. And I'm going to be laying it out more or less the same way. But unlike before, where I had an 8-foot long desk and only 30 inches wide to play with, it basically only gave me about 8 inches over here that I could really use for the mouse. And that didn't really work for me. And so it was very cramped, which is the reason why, if you saw my video where I needed to get some speakers to edit, without headphones on sometimes, I decided on the Creative Labs Pebble 2.1 system, which has a subwoofer over here. It has the 2 satellite speakers over there. It had a reputation for sounding good. And because it was small and low enough profile to fit in front of my monitors when they were only about that high, I liked the idea of not obscuring my monitors and still being able to listen to sound if I wanted to by turning it on. But in this new space that I have more room to play with. So I can lay the room out a little bit differently because I kind of buried myself in the old studio. When I got the desk, I had different ideas about layout, and then I ended up kind of making the background, putting myself in the corner, and then I kind of locked myself in there and wasn't really able to use the space as much as I would like to because there was also a stairwell right next to me. And I had to actually get down the stairs. So in this new studio, I can lay it out a little bit differently. So I got myself a 2-foot deep desk that is now 48 inches wide. So I want to actually upgrade the sound system, and I'm going to be doing so in this video. And if you're wondering why I'm using a Sennheiser MKH416 as a hand mic, it's because all my microphones are currently packed up. Great planning, right? The first thing you're going to notice about this room is how poor the acoustics are. I'm using a Sennheiser MKH416 and there's no acoustic treatment in this room at all. So naturally, a good quality microphone is going to hear how poor the acoustics really are. You're going to hear reverb all over this room. And because this is a short shotgun microphone currently pointing into a wall, it's going to be picking up everything that basically is bouncing off that wall, which is everything that's in this entire room that's being captured in the corners of that wall. So bad acoustics is the first thing we notice, and I can't do anything about that in this video, but what I am going to do is go ahead and set myself up a sound system. Now, the second thing you're going to notice is that my monitor is still taking up the same space as it was before, but now I have all this extra room on the side for a speaker. Back in the 90s, I was a DJ and I had a really amazing sound system that would blow the walls apart and it would actually sound really good too. But one thing I have never had is a high quality sound system at home or at my desk and my computer for me to work with, a studio type environment, a watching space, a listening room, whatever. I've never done that before. And as I got older, I got married, I had a couple of kids, I never prioritized it. But now that I have this newer space, I'm going to. So what speakers am I going to be getting? Well, I decided very quickly that I was going to get myself some Adam Audio A7Xs. And because I love subwoofers, I'm also going to be adding in a Sub8. Now, why did I choose this combination? Adam Audio makes amazing speakers. They are very clear, they're very detailed, I love detailed sound, and they're very flat. So it's going to not embellish, it's not going to try to be anything that it's not. It's going to be exactly what I want it to. Now, it is pricey, but then, so what? When I moved in last week, I just wanted to set this desk up so that way it would at least be functional and I could start editing stuff if I wanted to, going through footage, watching movies, or what have you, basically. So I, at this time, had the Mix Pre 6 on top of a subwoofer, not ideal, and I have all my hard drives over there. So the first thing I'm going to do is move the hard drives off of the desk and try to free up some of this space. I got these 2 racks off of Amazon, and basically I bought them for their size. I do know how sloppy the cable management is here. It's a work in progress, bear with me. But for right now, I'm going to take one of these wire racks and stick it directly over top of the power strip. I'm doing that so that way I'm using vertical space and less floor space. And it also is going to give a little bit of room between the hard drives so they're floating in the air. So it's getting it off the ground, which is great. And I'm going to be using my space very effectively. Yes, that rat's nest of cables behind me is going to be tidied up as soon as I'm done shooting this video. It's driving me crazy too. Now I'm going to be taking down and repurposing this Creative Labs Pebble 2.1 sound system. I've now cleared up all this space on either side of my monitor, so it's speaker time, right? Not exactly, because if you're going to use high quality studio monitors, you want to isolate them from surfaces that you could touch or that could generate vibration. So I'm going to be doing just that. Because I don't want my studio monitors to be obscured by my computer monitor, I'm going to be using desk stands as opposed to floor stands. That means I'm not going to have to worry about the mids and highs perhaps reflecting off of the back of the monitor or anything of the sort. It's going to be directly facing my ears where I need them to be. And so for that, I've chosen, at the recommendation of Banjo from Podcastage, the IsoAcoustics ISO 155s for the A7Xs, and for the Sub8, I'm going to be using the, what is this called? The ISO 200 Sub. In a world of ridiculous things, this is adding to it. This is an Adam Audio A7X, or at least the box it comes in. I'm going to open them up and put them up here, and it's going to be hilarious. And this is the subwoofer. Hey, look, the Sweetwater Candy. If these speakers were passive, I could run an audio feed into an amplifier and then run an amplified line out to the subwoofers and the speakers. But these are active speakers, meaning that I can send them an unamplified audio signal and then have to plug each one of them into the wall in order to give them power, so that way they can amplify themselves. Now, normally, as you know, if you watch my channel, I make my own cables. But because all my soldering stuff is in storage and I don't really want to wait to put all these into work, I'm going to end up buying something. Now, you could say, okay, well, Mogami studio cables it is. But I'll tell you, I found something online when I was doing some research and decided to give them a try. It is something called WBC, or World's Best Cables. It's made with Mogami cable and Neutrik connectors. So for like 25 or 30 bucks, whatever it was I bought these things for, I'm going to give them a try. And so I have plenty to go out of my Sound Devices Mix Pre 6 into the subwoofer, and then to go out to the A7Xs. And that way I could actually, have a crossover built into the subwoofer and then go out to the satellites. But wait a second, the Sound Devices Mix Pre 6 doesn't have a balanced output, does it? Well, that's okay. I have a MoCo passive monitor controller, which allows you to plug in something that's, something like this, actually, from the Mix Pre 6 into this, and then it's going to go out balanced. So you may say that's a cheat. It is, but hey, what am I going to do? Get a separate interface just to give it a balanced signal out? It's already digital coming out of the Mix Pre 6. I'm going to at least try it. And if I need to get a separate interface just to use for the Adams later, I will do that. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This is way overkill for this small desk setup. You're right. I'm not crazy. I do know that. But I'll tell you, I did my research and I chose these for a reason. The reason is the sound quality. I already talked about that. And I also have to admit that there's one thing I didn't do research on, and that was the size. So yeah, I acknowledge this is quite crazy. You should actually want to spread out more, have a bigger space, but I'm going to use this and it's going to be amazing. When I placed the order for these WBC Star Quad XLR cables, I told myself that I should get 4 of them that are 6 feet long, but instead I got 3 and 1 that was only 3 feet long. So of course it's going to be about 2 inches too short. That's a dumb mistake that I shouldn't have fallen for, but it's okay. I have my own supply of SoundSpeed special cables that I'm going to use to connect it up for tonight until I can order another one. And with that, these speakers are all connected up and ready for a sound test. Now, it's 2 a.m., so my family's asleep. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.